Magnus.
Hey, it's Baby Magnus and the Grandmaster Dread Knight and Nemesis Armor. Grandmaster Nemesis Dread Knight. I think I said that all backwards. That's okay. Welcome back to Kitchen Table Wargaming Battle Reports. This is the first of the new codexes, and it's me, myself, being the Grey Knights nerd that I am, playing against Russell, Merlin's Grimdark Painting. He's been a Thousand Suns nerd for a long time, so this is going to be an absolute blast. First game for either of us with the new codexes. So we're super excited. And, you know, we could get things wrong, because that happens. We're human. But it's going to be an absolutely amazing game. So, we'll be back to show you the army lists and continue from there. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, here is the Grey Knights list I'm going to be trying out today. This is a brand new codex, first game. Oh, super exciting. It is basically a Hexfire battle. We're playing against 1,000 Suns. I'm running 2 patrols, so I get 2 brotherhoods. The Dread Knight, who is the warlord, has Unyielding Anvil, so he gives obsec to himself and somebody within 6 of him. He also has First to the Fray, so I spent the command point to give him the 2 warlord traits because that's fun. He has the Sigil of Excellence, so of course you target him, he disappears once per game, and Servant of the Throne, once per game, 3-up invulnerable save. And then along with him, we have Mr. Caldor Drago, who is going to be just there to give the Chapter Master rerolls and buffs and things like that, and hit really hard. And the last character going in for this one is the Paladin Ancient, and he has a silencer. I don't think there's anything real special about what he's doing in this game other than helping out, giving extra hits and attacks and hitting on 2s and things like that. Then to go with the Rapiers Brotherhood, that's who these are. You've got 2 squads of 5 interceptors. We've got 1 squad of strike squads, and then I've got 2 Terminator squads. There is a warding stave in each of them for that nifty little 4-up invulnerable save if they're targeted by something I don't want to shoot them real bad. And that fills them out. They all have their baked in spells, so I think these guys all have Hammer Hand plus the Brotherhood one, which gives you the, what is it, extra... Oh, you hit, it's +1 to hit, I believe, is what the Brotherhood spell is. I don't know the name of most of this stuff yet, I apologize. Then my second patrol is going to be the Ward Makers. So I have the Chaplain in here. This is my Kitbashed Durandin model. He has the Cantu Vambrace, so he ignores mortals on 4-up, and it reduces incoming damage by 1, I believe. It's either that or it reduces by half, and I feel silly for not knowing that. He's got Words of Power for his litany. That is the Nemesis weapons on 6s to wound. You pick a unit within 6 inches of him if the chant is successful, and it basically counts as 2 wounds, plus the mortal wound bumps up, so you can do 2 mortals if you're in the Tide of Convergence, and it does an extra wound that you have to save against. So it can make 1 squad of 5 horrific. Got a captain next to him with a hammer. He's got nothing fancy, other than he gives the reroll ones to wound in an aura around him. The Crow model there is actually my Brotherhood champion. Brotherhood Ancient. So he can give extra attacks with a bubble for him. And the Apothecary with a hammer, Smash a Carry. He will be, I think the Captain and the Apothecary have my Warp Shaping. And that's that. Then I have 2 more squads of Strike Marines. And that's it. I believe I was figuring out that a couple of my weapons were different than what I imagined. So I'm at 1995 points. But it's going to be loads of fun. New psychic spells, new shenanigans, new book, all kinds of rules that, you know, try really hard to not get wrong. Oh, get ready, folks. This is going to be a blast. 1,000 Suns list coming up next. All right, folks, we're playing the 1,000 Suns today. I am going to be playing against Russell. This is Merlin's Grimdark Painting. Was that the correct name? Mm-hmm. Merlin's Grimdark Painting. Check him out. Facebook, Instagram, also.
Just Facebook right now.
Facebook for now. Yes, he's going to be painting up a new Crow model for me at some point. He did my Raiders, which I haven't had a chance to play with since they got painted. But he's been doing commission painting, and he does some amazing work. He is also running the new Codex, of course, because why not? You'll notice there's no Magnus. I like this list, actually. As we were talking about it earlier, there's a lot of things that not many people have been playing yet, from what I've watched in battle reports, you know, where they're just, I don't know, they're trying all the craziness. And this looks like a super crazy fun list. So you can obviously tell that's a Land Raider. That's the Godhammer variant. So you got the las cannons, heavy bolter, storm bolter. Mm-hmm. Got a rhino, You got the Mutilith Vortex Beast. This thing is so, yeah, it's great. I've been having a good time watching people yell at that, love it, hate it. You know, it's like, it cracks me up. It's such a wild deal. I'll go back here to what I do know. We've got a bunch of Rubric Marines. How did you have them split again?
I've got 210. I got 110 and 2 5s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And then I got 2 squads of 5 Scarab Assault Terminators.
Yep.
And then I got 4 characters.
There's the characters.
I have Ahriman, who's not my warlord, but he has Glamour Zinks, Presage, which is the new Prescience, Weaver of Fates. Exalted Sorcerer, I paid for an upgrade to give him an extra cast per turn, and then his warlord trait is to know an extra thing, so he knows 3, cast 3. And then I also gave him the relic that lets him roll 3 dice on one of those, and for the rest of the game, when he casts that dice, he rolls 3, discards the lowest.
Dislike.
And then I have my warlord, which is the Demon Prince.
Demon Prince.
He's got Temporal Manipulation and Swelled by the Warp. That's your new Diabolic Strength and your heal. He's got Undying Form, so he reduces all incoming damage by 1. And then he also has Convening Plate, and Convening Plate is a 2-up save, and he can only have half the attacks allocated to him. So if you've got a squad of Terminators in him, only up to half of their attacks can be allocated.
And he's looking at me while he says that with a smirk. Yes, uh-huh.
So, but that is it in a nutshell.
Oh, and you also got your spare sorcerer.
And I got a sorcerer, which
not?
you can take an extra if you have an Exalted Sorcerer, and he's got Doom Bolt and Presage. So that Presage is the Prescience. That's the only spell besides Doom Bolt that is doubled up on. So,
cool.
But there you go.
Those are going to be fun. All is dust everywhere. There's no Zangors. The thing that's killing me with all this stuff, having seen and watched a few different games, there's no morale to be taken here. So, like, a lot of people have been running the Zangors and stuff, and those guys will still flee. But this stuff is all, you got to kill it dead. And there's a 10-man back there of Rubric. That's going to be kind of obnoxious. So this is going to be a pretty fun build. We're having a good time with this. So that's the 2 armies. We will come back with missions, etc. in just a minute. All right, folks, we're in. We have deployed. This is Scorched Earth, so we've got 6 objectives. There's, I don't know, I feel like it's 1 on each end, then you've got 2 in a deployment zone, 2 in your opponent's deployment zone. Russell won the roll-off, so he picked that side over there, because these are very similar. We're using the Games Workshop, I guess, directed terrain, which is fun. We've used it a couple times, and it makes for some really good games. So over here, I have my Grey Knights. I've got the Dread Knight, Grand Master. I got the Interceptor Squad and a Strike Squad and Apothecary. Just kind of chillaxing back here, hiding a little bit. Not as much as he was hiding, but hiding a bit. And on this side, I've got another Strike Squad. The 2 Strike Squads that are pure halberds are the Wardmakers Strike Squads, and then the other, basically all the rest of my stuff is going to be in the Rapiers, aside from characters. So then over here, I've got Drago. I've got the Brother Captain, I've got 5 Terminators here, and another set of 5 Interceptors. So that's where we're at. We've got a Strike Squad in the Warps, we've got Terminators in the Warps, we've got 2 Ancients and a Chaplain in the Warps, just chillaxing. And on this side of the board, you will see the Thousand Suns deployment. We have everything right here. And a Rhino. This Rhino, I believe, has 2 5-man squads of Rubrics. The Land Raider has the 10-man squad of Rubrics. The 2 5-man Scarab Cults are hanging out in the Warps, ready to teleport in. We got Mr. Nasty Mutilithic Beast dude. We got Ahriman. We've got the regular little Sorcerer dude. We've got the Exalted Sorcerer and the Demon Primarch. Demon Primarch. Wow. Demon Prince. Warlord. Not Primarch. Excuse me. He's got a promotion on the way if he survives this match against the Grey Knights. And that's it. So, I think we're ready to do the roll-off to see who's going to go first this day. Are you ready, folks? Here we go. We're going to start off with a 1. That's not exciting.
And a 6.
And a 6. Well, the Grey Knights are not going first. That's going to be cool. That's 2 1s in a row that I've rolled on my new Grey Knights dice. I'm about to be disappointed. I'm not going to ask for a refund soon if they don't warm up. We'll be back after the first turn for the Thousand Suns. All right, folks. It is the end of the Thousand Suns. Thousand Suns, turn 1. That's going to be one of those days. Mutilithic Vortex Beast done did an advance move, sitting his happy self on the objective. They were clever, Russell was clever, keeping everybody out of deny range, so he cast Glamour of Zinch, Weaver of Fates upon him. So he's got, what, a 4 of invul now? And he's -1 to hit. I don't like that. Over here, the 10-man squad disembarked. The Land Raider moved up to see through the terrain to shoot at my Dread Knight, which is rude. These guys all kind of basically stayed where they were. He did cast the +1 for himself on strength. The diabolical strength, as it is not called anymore. And then he did the jump on the 10-man squad of rubrics. I don't remember what you call that now. It's a sorcerer's facade, yes. They're over here inside a building, tucked neatly away, sitting on an objective. I'm disappointed by that too. This old boy started the turn back here, cast the temporal
Started over here.
manipulation. Oh, he
advanced
started
to
over here, right.
And then warp time to here.
Advanced warp time, yes, which has a new name. Doesn't matter. These guys have Presage, was cast on them before all that happened, I believe, before they were jumped, everything else. The Rhino disembarked 5 guys, so there's still 5 inside it, right? And the Rhino?
Yes.
Yeah. So these guys stayed back here, completing Rod for turn 1. Praise Rod. Then, what else? Rhino advances, sitting on the objective. They did a bunch of shooting, a bunch of psychic. All the psychic in range of my Grey Knights, they denied. I was so proud of them. But he did most of his psychic where I couldn't do anything about it. In the shooting, I did lose a Terminator, and I did lose 2 wounds off of another Terminator. The 3-wound Terminator is a neat feeling. I did spend 2 points for True Silver Armor, however, because Russell spent it's a new name for Veterans of the Long War to be wounding all these bolters with -2 AP. What are they, Infernal Bolters? Is that what they were called? Mm-hmm. Yeah. All those with the -2 AP to make them only wounding me on 4s. That's my version of the transhuman. And it paid off a lot. So there was that. Ended up being a very disappointing turn in Russell's opinion. I was not sad. He targeted my Dread Knight with the Land Raider. So I took my move, and I landed myself 9 inches away from him, who had already advanced, so he wasn't charging me. 9 inches away from the Land Raider back there. So he could still shoot at the Dread Knight, and then I also popped my Servant of the Throne for the 3-up invul. So he's chilling over here. He managed to dodge all of the woundings and took no damage. And then the Vortex Beast just whiffed on his psychic shenanigans that he tried to do on the Dread Knight. So it was a little bit underwhelming. Russell spent a few command points, some Cabal points, had a lot of fun with that stuff. And that's it. That's the end of the turn. You don't have anything to score in your turn yet. And that's another thing. We forgot to talk about secondaries. We both took a mission specific, or Grey Knights Codex 1000 Sun specific one. So I took Teleport Assault. He took Wrath of Magnus. Retrieve Octaria's data and Assassination for Russell. I have Teleport Assault, Raise Banners, and Stranglehold. So nothing was scoring in the first turn. We'll be back with the Grey Knights turn 1 next. Alright folks, the Grey Knights turn 1 has come to a close. I realized some things as I was reading the book, because, that's what you do after you start playing. So some of the fun shenanigans I had up my sleeve with guys like the Brotherhood Ancient won't work on some of the units I wanted to stack that on. So, it is what it is. That's not the point. I moved around over here just a little bit, kind of spread them out. So they raised a banner. This strike squad over here raised a banner. Apothecary tried to change the warp, and he cast a Snake Eyes, and I spent a command point to reroll it, and he cast a 3. So that was sad. We did do some shenanigans over here. We cast a Smite from this guy. We cast a Smite, and I believe it was a Vortex into the Rubric squad and killed 3 of them. 2 6s rolled on D3 damage. The Interceptors cast Symphonic Strike on themselves. Oh, by the way, I started in the Tide of Escalation, so I could cast multiple of the same powers with different units, and it didn't matter. They did it. The other squad failed theirs by 1, and or it was denied. Anywho, they had Symphonic Strike. Drago cast Gate of Infinity and Vortex of Doom, so he gated over to here, which wasn't a lot, but it put him in range to charge both them and the Rhino, depending on what I wanted. He made a 10 into the Rubrics. He actually finished off the last Rubrics that these guys did not kill, so I was able to score Teleport Assault for the secondary with him. And then he tagged the Rhino. We did a lot of shooting over here and killed a few Rubrics in the shooting, and then dropped the Rhino to 1 wound. Managed to kill 1 Rubric Marine back there with my Dread Knight shooting through windows. We took a wound off of the Mutalithic Beast in shooting. Then we charged. I started fighting with the Interceptors on the other side first. Russell interrupted combat, and then I saved the damages, and that was sad. And then I killed him down to a single wound with 2 wounds from him with a d6 damage, and then the interceptors finished off the mutilated beast. Whew, it was a devastating turn. So I killed the 10-man squad of rubrics on that side in combat, and I killed the beast over here. But Russell still has stuff in deep strike, and it's not all over, but it was definitely a much more brutal turn 1 for me than it was for Russell. So at the end of that turn, I picked up 3 for Stranglehold, 3 for Teleport Assault, and I've started by raising 2 banners, and that's it. So we'll be back in just a minute for the Thousand Suns turn 2. All right, folks, the end of the the Thousand Suns turn 2 is upon us. Shot and killed a bunch of these dudes. I did not flee, thankfully. Over here, though, we shot and killed a bunch. Then Mr. Demon Prince killed the Dread Knight. Yeah, there was an Interceptor left alive that the Land Raider charged, and the poor Interceptor ran away. That was kind of disappointing, kind of lame-o. Over here, some Scarab Cult came down and deep struck. They did the Retrieve Octaria's data, and they're the special unit that could still shoot after doing such. So they did some of the plink wounds over here. They got rid of some of these dudes. These guys down here in this corner deep struck in, shot and killed a couple of these guys, 3 to be precise, and then did a bunch of wounds to the Apothecary, so he's alive on a wound, but they're still hanging in there. Over here, Rubrics got out of the Rhino, made their moves up to, they were somewhere around there, made a charge into this squad. They killed 1.5 in combat and or shooting, and then the 3 guys remaining killed 3 of them in return, so we managed to hold on to that objective, which is not what he was hoping for. Drago took the brunt of all the psychic shenanigans over here, dropping him to 3 wounds remaining, but he still is remaining, so there's some rubrics there. And yeah, it is he did a lot of killing in this turn, but there's still a lot on the board for the Grey Knight, so it is interesting. He's got Rod twice, he got an assassination for killing the Dread Knight, and that's it on that. Picked up 10 on primary. So we're going into Grey Knights turn 2. We'll be back in just a minute. All right, the end of the turn for the Grey Knights. We killed this little dude over here. Both of them, I should say. Deep struck the Ancient because he would give benefits to this squad, and the other squad's almost dead, so that's what we did there. These guys walked up, did a smite, killed the Rhino, and took the objective. These guys with Drago moved forward. They had Chapter Master rerolls. I did a dumb. I only charged them into the rubrics and not multi-charged into the Sorcerer, and that ended up costing me that and the fact that I fought with Drago first. Drago didn't kill him, amazingly enough, because I split attacks, and I should have started the other way around. That's okay. So I took that objective back, took this objective, so I hold 4 at the moment, but that's kind of a problem because over here, everything the Deep Struck failed to charge. Are we surprised? No, we're not, because they're Grey Knights. We got Hammerhand on these guys, the Terminators. Hammerhand also went off on this squad, and then that was it for Hammerhand. These guys were blocked with their Symphonic Strike. My Sanctuary was blocked as well, and that's it. So I've got a bunch of stuff here in the middle that's going to get eaten by various scary things over here. So it's going to be kind of wild. We'll have to see. I took back one half of the board, and then I lost Drago, and that was disappointing. So we'll be back for Thousand Suns, turn 3 next. All right, end of the turn 3. Yeah, for Thousand Suns. This is a wild game, guys. This is wild. A whole bunch of shooting over here. Killed 4 of my 5 guys, and then the last guy failed morale like a peanut. Over here, my Apothecary died in the psychic phase by a wound. Then the strike squads died to combat from these guys. Terminators tanked a lot of shooting. Strike Marines tanked some shooting, and then were attacked by a Demon Prince, and he killed them. And well, except for one guy. One guy was alive, and then that guy died to morale because he rolled a 6 because he's cool like that. I lost my Ancient, Paladin Ancient over there to shooting and psychic. And then my Chaplain took 2 wounds from the Scarab Cult Terminators. And that's about where we're at. There was a lot of stuff happening. Lots of things were cast. Glamour of Zinch went off on the Demon Prince. He was healed by the Demon Prince, so he's up to 3. Presage went on the Land Raider, which is how it helped kill a bunch of my dudes that were in cover back there. I don't remember. What's this buff over here? Something on the Scarab Cult guys.
Yeah, improves their invuln by.
Oh, yeah, their invul went up. Yeah. So, we're kind of neck and neck on points. We keep scoring 10 on primary each turn and keep having like a command point, and our secondaries are staying really close, except he's capping out on assassination because, yeah, that's just how it's playing right now. So, we'll be back for Grey Knight's turn 3. It's kind of funny. It went from looking a little rough on the Thousand Sun side to now it's a little dicey on my side. You got to figure out some things to do, some shenanigans. We'll be back in just a minute for Grey Knight's turn 3. Alright, the end of the turn for the Grey Knights, and it was a sad turn. My hammer hand was denied on my Terminators. Would have been kind of handy. I did spend the 1 point for their deadly efficacy, or however you want to pronounce that, and I got a whole extra mortal wound out of that. That was very sad. Not being able to reroll my wounds killed me. They were horrific at wounding these Scarab Occult Terminators, and Hammerhand would have been fabulous. So instead, I did 2 wounds on one Terminator. He killed 1.5 of my Terminators. That was not cool. Over here, a bunch of these guys are dead because I spent a command point, my other command point, to unlearn whatever my chaplain knew and give him Gate of Infinity. So he left. That was not denied. He's over here, hiding behind a building. So I'm sitting on 3 objectives. The goal here was to kill at least 1, if not 2 of them. So then I would take the objective back and I would still get Stranglehold. But no, he had to go be a punk. So that hurts a little bit. And that's it. So I picked up 10 in primary, and that's all I got. Oh, 1 for raising a banner. And that was literally all I got out of that turn. And yeah, Thousand Suns, turn 4 is coming up next. Well, the Thousand Suns have spoken. All the Psychic Fury came in on these poor Terminators, and I lost all but 1 of them to Psychic shenanigans. Even with the 5-up ignores and a few attempted blocked spells, didn't matter. And then these guys cheekily did their whole teleportation thing, which he decided to spend the Cabal points to make it non-deniable, and so they left. They zip-zap zoomed over there. Oh, and the Demon Prince here, this guy made his charge after he failed it the first time. He had that 1 command point left, rerolled the charge, and he killed my Terminator. Then over here, the shooting. These guys are slow enough that they were still stuck out in the open, so Mr. Land Raider just said, the Scarab Occult Terminators over there also did a little work. They moved forward to be an inch outside or inside, so the next turn they can move up and get Rod. So those Terminators died. Over here, my Chaplain was all happy. Then these guys showed up, and all of a sudden he stopped making saves, so he died. The only good news there was that Russell wasn't able to charge onto the objective. I guess that's good. I guess. It's real bad, folks. All of a sudden, this is the Grey Knight's army. We're calling out for an SOS. Somebody come pick us up, please. It's gone horribly wrong. So yeah, there's that. So he's maxed out on assassination. He'll at least get 1 more rod before the end of the game. And he got Wrath of Magnus again. And that's kind of it. Like, I'm up against it. So, we'll be back for Grey Knight's turn 4. But there's really, I don't think, is anything left to be done. We'll look at it after my turn and see if there's anything at all left to do. And that might be the end of the game. This has been a super fun one. So we'll be back in just a minute. Alright, folks, I tried to play, I failed to cast, I spent my command point for Gate, so he was going to jump, failed to cast it on a 4, wow, and I don't get a +1 anymore, so he didn't jump. We did smite, take a couple wounds off the Demon Prince over there, we shot at him and did no good, and that was it, that was all I could do for my turn, so we just went in and talked it through a little bit. We would have, in the last turn, seen a lot of him scoring some points and me not. And in the end of the game, it ended up actually being 60-90. So the Thousand Suns came back in a big way. His Scarab Occult Terminator's coming in, not dying. My misplay with Drago and then losing him to this Exalted Sorcerer over here was a bummer. And that kind of messed things up over there. And then that was really the only big screw up that I did, was not hitting with the Interceptors first and losing Drago. It just played funny. You know, it's one of those deals, playing around with new lists, playing around with new rules, remembering everything. If that Exalted Sorcerer would have died, I would still have at least half a Terminator squad over here that the Demon Prince would have had to kill, because he just pumped in tons of mortal wounds on these guys when I had a few denies left. So, I mean, there's all kinds of crazy stuff. Super fun game. My secondary was horrible. His ended up being good. Yeah, what do you know? The mission-specific or book-specific ones, at least. And we had to have a lot of fun. Like, denies went off everywhere. Clutch things got denied over and over again in both our turns. And then some things went off when we needed them to. It was just wild. The durability on both armies, super, super better. I mean, the Grey Knights stuck around a lot more. And even the Thousand Sun stuff, just this combat here when I charged, it's like, yeah, this will be great because I got the charge, I get to hit first, I didn't even kill one. It's like, what has happened? Of course, he denied my hammer hand, which didn't help.
Denied the hammer hand and then used the stratagem to reduce the damage that
and he reduced damage. I mean,
and then you didn't roll any mortal wounds. I mean, out of like,
it was horrible.
It was like 16 dice, no mortal wounds.
I had at least 16. No, I had one mortal wound out of all that. Yeah. It was like, wait, what has happened over here? And I mean, by that point, I'd lost like any kind of reroll support. Things like that were gone. And that's, you know, it is what it is. But yeah, it was such a wild game. So much fun. And we both got to play around with different things, new rules and stuff, you know, strikes, the spells, things like that we got to do differently. And a lot to take back and learn and redesign the lists and play different styles and see what happens. So super fun. Thank you, Russell. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
It was a lot of fun to get this game in. Finally get to play the new Codex.
This is the second time we've done a Codex release battle report.
Yes,
we did the Book of Rust with Dark Eldar,
first version.
Army of Renown, and the House Raven Army of Renown. So.
Yep. Cult of Strife versus the Knights. That was cool.
That was a fun game.
Lot of fun. That was a good game.
That's
the only time I beat you.
Yep. And that rack did that one mortal wound at the end of the game.
It was hilarious.
It was like, we got a knight.
Killed a knight.
And then, so it did one mortal wound, and would you win by 1 point?
Yeah, something like that.
It was a crazy game.
It was perfect.
It's crazy.
Well, thanks, man. It's been a blast. Check out his paintwork at Merlin's Painting Service. Merlin's Grimdark.
Yeah, it's Merlin's Grimdark Painting on Facebook.
Facebook.
If you're interested, hit me up on Messenger, we'll talk about price. I'm very flexible and what you're looking for and all that stuff. Better than Battle Ready and that type of stuff. So
yes, indeed. That's been a fun one. So I hope y'all enjoyed it. I'm gonna be doing a few less battle reports these days. Got life starting back up again, but hope you enjoyed this and stay tuned for more from Kitchen Table Wargaming.